Hey, what's going on, everybody? Been getting some requests on, doing a video on how to put together one of my setups, rod and reels. But first, we're gonna go through, do a little kind of demonstration on how to properly maintain your reel. Gonna go over the Pflueger President XT spinning reel, just kind of show what to take apart, what to lubricate. A lot of times when you get those new reels, they put a packing grease on a lot of the moving parts, and what that does is kind of a light grease Vaseline consistency. So oftentimes that material will actually trap a lot of dirt, sand, other grit. So what I like to do, I like to go through and remove as much as that as possible, and then just put a light amount of a Rule lubricant on there. I've got just the Abu Garcia Real Coat, but we'll do that, kind of cover some things, and then just going over cleaning out the eyes of the rod with steel wool, because as the season goes on, the more you use it, you get some light buildup in those eyelets. So if you do the steel wool, just kind of run that through the eyes and clean that out, it'll take a lot of that grime off, and you'll get a better flow with the line going through those eyes. So we'll get started on that, and then we'll end up stringing the reel back up. We'll put the spinner harness on there, and it'll essentially be my spinner harness drifting rod for walleye or perch. Okay, so the first thing that you'll want to do, first piece you're going to take off, we're going to take the spool off. So you're just going to counterclockwise take this drag nut off. To the point where you can pull the spool off. Okay. So there's your spool. You can kind of see in there some of that grease. They don't, seems on some of your better reels, they don't put as much in there. See, some pieces of grease right in there. See, there's some right on top, a little bit. That grease in there. And there's a little bit on the cap. So that's some of the stuff I'm talking about that'll end up trapping a lot of grit and debris. So what I like to do, just like to use Q-tips. I'll just kind of get a majority of that stuff off. Kind of clean a little bit. Some of that grease knocked off out of there. And while we've got everything apart, I just kind of like to take and just wipe out everything. Just kind of get most of that debris out, any other dust and just little particles. Try not to leave too many fibers from the Q-tips in there. And you'll see, like, up under here, up underneath the spool, all that dirt build up. So just kind of, doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, this is more than what a lot of people do, just for general care of your equipment. And it's any other tool like anybody else. Take care of your tools, they'll take care of you. And it all just kind of goes back to the fishing in general. I mean, you'll get out whatever you put into it, so. But a little bit better. Clean up some of that stuff. Same thing,
Get in on the inside here. It's not too bad. Clean some of that stuff out of there. A little bit of grease on top. So then one of the last things I'll do sometimes, you know, I'll take the bail, take these off, and just put some lubricant underneath in these pieces here. But it still seems pretty smooth. I'm not gonna do that today. So next step, we're gonna take the crank off here. So to take off the crank, just hold your little beauty button on. Just hold that, and then just reel backwards, and you'll see that crank starting to get loose. And that comes out. And just unscrew this cap. Just kind of inspect there. Looks okay. Overall, this one wasn't too bad. It was pretty clean. So now we'll take the Abu Garcia real oil. And I got a couple bottles of these. Had them for a long time, so like you don't need much. It goes a long way. So let's go in. Just put a couple drops on there. A couple drops on that side. Put some drops on the threads. So you put that back in. Put your cap on. Just kind of hold that there. And then with your thumb, I like to hold this piece. And just start reeling. See, it starts getting tight. Just make sure that cap's on. You want to over tight, you don't want to break it, but you want to make sure it's on there. And flip your bail. And there's your crank. So now, put a little bit of oil on your threads there, get some on the gears. There's your reel. Getting it down in that portion there. As you reel, that oil will kind of work its way down. It's basically any moving part. Just put a little bit of oil on. It slides back. And put a little bit of, got some grease there. A little bit of oil right in the cap. You just don't want the spool coming off. There you go. Everybody's back together. Feeling pretty smooth. It was feeling pretty good beforehand, but just kind of show, you know, what some of that packing grease looks like in there. And then you'll probably have to adjust your drag as you use it and find out if you got too much drag on, not enough. But just getting us back in the game here. Okay, so up next, you can kind of see these eyes got a little bit of haze to them. This one hasn't been cleaned in some time. It's kind of hard to tell. Seeing some of that haze on the right here on the inside of the eye. So what we'll do, we're going to take our steel wool, just kind of, I just like to pull it through and just hold one side and just kind of work it. It cleans them up pretty good. So just do that all the way to the top. As the eyes get smaller, just have to twist down your wool. And it doesn't take much. Is this necessary? No, not really, but I feel like it helps a little bit. I actually think I learned this from Dick Turpin. He had a lot of outdoor tips. So yeah, get our last one there. That's pretty good. That's the Berkeley lightning rod, medium action 6.6. I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good universal rod. It's not be a good drift rod, for pulling that spinner harness for some walleye or perch. But I've used it in the river, floating, or pulling a Lindy rig. Got a couple little cats on it and some gold eyes. There's a couple ways you can do this. I used to, put the reel on, pull the line, through, spool it on that way, but I've got my nifty line spooling device that I've had for a while and just busted it out, a couple months ago, and it's pretty sweet, so we're gonna go grab that. All right, so we got the Berkeley portable line spooling station. So it's pretty slick. Just take this off. Save these tabs so your line doesn't go all crazy. You slide it through. Slide this piece back on. Just kind of get them so it's level. It's only kind of backwards when you do the spinning reels though. So put it on there. Just kind of spin it, load it up on there. So then you flip your bail down. And what I just do a slip knot. So just got your tag in, and you're working in, the whole thing's working. So over 2 fingers, bring it under. So then you got a loop, and you're gonna pass that under. Hold your loop, and pull your tag in here. Slide the loop over the spool. Cinch her down. Then I just throw an overhand knot on, just for safety. There's, a lot of guys will talk about putting backing on, but I've never done that, so never had an issue with it. And slip knot's not the strongest knot, but you're gonna be putting on 100 and odd some yards, but I mean, if you get a big enough fish on there that rips that all the way down to that knot and busts that line off, you got yourself a heck of a story. But just trim this piece off, trim that tag off, and get that thrown away. Make sure you flip your bail down and that it catches here in the guide. So get a little bit of tension on here. So then just keep some steady, just keep a steady retrieve there. You want your line tight, but not too tight. So this tends to get in this spool going the right way. This device, really helps with making sure the line lays nice and flat and even. It's not, like I said, it's not the only way to do it. I used to, put it on the rod and then spool it up that way. But it does make a pretty big difference. And get enough line on there, but you don't want to overload. So you can see where the lip of your spool is. You don't want to go too close to it, because if it casts into the wind or you get too much slack in there, that whole spool just comes undone. So we'll say that's good there. Pull off some line, pull it to the line cutter. So you take it to your rod. And all rod seats are different. What you got there. So then this will kind of loosen the drag up a little bit instead of undoing the bail and risking everything come flying off. Just go through. So at this point you're all spooled up, ready to go, and you just gotta tie on your lure or your slip bobber or whatever you're gonna put on. But that's how that's how I spool up a reel, a spinning reel anyway. How I go through, clean out, kind of maintain just getting all those moving parts. Hopefully another exciting fishing season. But thanks for checking out the video. Hopefully this helped, and we'll see you out on the water.